Okay. Do dry herbs lose their potency over time? This is another question that we've got quite often. In fact, we get asked what is the shelf life? How long do your dry herbs last? And so I'm going to address that question here. Yes, 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 yes. Dried herbs definitely do lose their potency over time. They technically do not expire. They don't really spoil because they have been dried. All the moisture is out, so there's really nothing for bacteria to live on. If they have been properly dried, if they have been properly dehydrated, they really can last a long, long time. But they lose their potency over time, and it totally depends on a couple of factors. So let's talk about those factors and how to ensure that you keep your dried herbs so that they can last a while for you, because technically they can last a long time. So, yes, they do lose their potency. When they lose their potency, they lose their flavor and they weaken in terms of the strength. And so you can, if the longer you store them, the longer you keep it, it will lose potency. What are the key things to try to remember when you're storing when you're trying to make sure that your herbs are potent? One, storage. You really have to be careful about how you store your herbs. Store them in a dry, dark place, preferably. If you have a dark container so that the light doesn't degrade the herbs, do that. Store your herbs well so that they will last very well for you. Secondly, check the smell, right? Make sure that your herbs are well dehydrated, but you want to always smell your herbs when you pick them up, especially if they've been there for a long time, so that the smell test is really a good test to know whether they still are fresh or whether they have started to become moldy and caking up. Whenever you see that, you really should throw that away. Finally, if you store your herbs, if you want to store your herbs for a long time, grind them. Ground versus whole. So ground herbs will generally lose potency quicker than your whole dried herbs, but they might be easier to store. So depending on what your situation is, if you can keep it whole and you know it is properly dehydrated, then keep it whole. Put it in a watertight storage in a beautiful dry place in dark amber glass bottle or jar, right? And your herbs will preserve well for you. So I hope that answers the question.